Good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right, I haven't done some shout outs in a while. So good morning, Jamila, Kelly, Hilda, Beth. Good morning, everyone. Ariana, Alicia, Janine. Did I say Kelly? Kelly. I think I did. So yesterday I was talking about the soul and its relation to the spirit body, or I should say, I was talking about you, your soul, in relation to the spirit body and the physical body, and how they're related and integrated with one another. And I also talked about how there are organs within the physical body, the spirit body, and there are organs within the soul. But each time you move up into, so you have, like I said, you have organs within the spirit body, but then those organs also reside within, did I say spirit body? Let me start that over. You have organs within the physical body, and the spirit body has the exact same organs as the physical body. But there are more within the spirit body than there are within the physical body. And the reason why that is because the soul has more organs and just has more organs in order to that do different things, I should say. And so the spirit body is connected to that. And that's basically what I'm going to talk about today. It's more about the other types of organs that reside within the soul and how they manifest or express itself in our physical incarnation. Why is it hot in here? 1 second. The other day, I had posted something on Facebook, and they had asked me, how did I get to be so smart? And it wasn't like, I don't even know how to say it wasn't like, but I know what they meant. Because what I was posting was about the soul, what I was posting about understanding of life, how to perceive things or how things are perceived. Just, there was some clarity about things that I was posting. And to that person, they felt that I was smart. So they had asked me, how did you become so smart? And I knew what they meant. I don't believe that I'm smart, yet I believe that I'm smart. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. But the answer that I gave her was humility. And what she was considering smart is basically knowledge that I have, and understanding that I have. Understanding goes beyond knowledge. You can know something but not understand it. And so there is certain understanding, there's certain clarity that I have, and this is what she was perceiving as smart. But there's a reason why she was perceiving it as smart, why she was only able to see it on an intellectual plane. And I will talk about that today. But it has everything to do with humility. So, 1 second. Because of course, I had to write my little notes down because I get sidetracked. I see a flower, I'm like, ooh. Oh my gosh, I'm too much. All right. So, humility is something that we, as human beings, see as a quality. But it's an actual organ within the soul. Humility is an organ within the soul. It's something that we know. We know what it is, and we see it as a quality. But it is an organ of the soul that is being expressed through the physical body. So it's being expressed and experienced through the physical body. It's being expressed and experienced by the spirit body before it even gets to the physical body. So it's an aspect of the soul, it's an organ of the soul, but you can't look at the organs of the soul like we have organs in the body. But yet you can at the same time, because just as the organs in the body do specific things and work in harmony with all the other aspects of the body, because one organ is dependent upon another organ. So when one organ fails, it puts a lot of stress on other organs in order to keep up. And some organs can't even function without another organ being present. So there's a lot of I guess there's a lot of, how would I word that? Dependency upon other aspects of the body, other organs of the body. And the soul is no different. And this is actually how we are functioning. This is how you function every single day, but most people don't know this is what's going on. Which is why I told you I was doing this week-long video to give some clarity as to what's truly going on within you. So you can understand your soul better. So you can understand yourself better. So, I also mentioned that the mind of the soul. So the mind of the soul is also an organ. And, hold on a second, I gotta get over. Let me stay on humility for a moment. So, humility is something that, like I said, we see as this quality, but it's an organ that is being developed. So every aspect of the soul is being developed. The heart is being developed. That is also an organ of the soul. And we feel that. We feel that as a quality within ourselves. Either they have heart or they don't. This is where the love comes from. This is the understanding. And this also has to be developed within the soul. So humility, the heart, the mind, they all work together. All of them work together. But humility actually trumps the mind. Humility trumps the mind. The mind is subordinate to humility. So the mind, which you would probably just view it as the brain of the soul, but it is the mind of the soul, is subordinate to humility. So the mind, the organ, is subordinate to the organ of humility. Alright? So, let's see. Trying to look at my notes so I make sure I do this in order, because I jump around a lot. Okay. So, basically what humility is a lack of acceptance. Or I should say the lack of humility is the lack of acceptance. That's what that is. The lack of humility is the lack of acceptance. So if you don't have humility, then you're not willing to accept something. So that blocks your mind from accepting or from knowing more. So when she asked me, how did you become so smart? She was looking at it from an intellectual perspective. But it's not an intellectual perspective. It's a perspective from the organ of humility, which allows the intellectual ideas and knowing and understanding to happen. So you have to be open in order to absorb information. And so if you lack humility, then you're not going to be able to absorb anything new. And so when she asked me that, it was interesting, because I was like, wow, this is actually what I'm going to be talking about, the next week. So it was a reinforcement as to, really go ahead with this video and explain it. So for for those who have strict beliefs, those who are in religions, they lack humility. Not all, but on a certain level they do. Because they can't accept the fact that there is more than what they currently subscribe to, what they currently believe in. So if anyone is saying that they are right all the time, because there are some people who claim to be right and know everything, if this is the case, then they lack humility. Without humility, you cannot let any more knowledge in. You can't let any information in, meaning you can't let any truth in. You cannot let truth in because you're closed off. So a lack of humility, or an organ that is closed off, the humility organ, closes off the mind as well. I hope you guys are following me. I'm trying to go slow because sometimes I go too quick. So humility actually literally controls the thought process. So the things we think about, the things that we entertain in terms of thought and ideas and things like that, that's all done with the logic aspect of the soul, the mind of the soul. But if you don't have humility, if you're not open to that, then you can't let that information in. That the thought, you can't even entertain the thought. And this is what happens to people who are closed off from that aspect of their soul. They won't open up to that. So, and I'm not saying, and see, the thing is, to be humble does not mean that you have to accept and believe all that is out there, what someone else is presenting. It just means that you're open to more. And see, the thing is, a lot of people say, I'm open to more, but they're really not. And they're like, nope, 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 nope. Nope. But they say they're open, but yet they're not. And so with their mind, they're saying, okay, I'm open to a whole bunch of things. I'm not closed-minded at all. Right? That's what the intellectual mind is saying. But the organ of humility is saying something completely different. You cannot accept something that humility, the organ of humility, is not open to. This is how you know whether you're closed off about something. See, this is all for the soul's development. This is all for your development. But you can't develop if you're always kicking stuff out. If you're refusing to accept anything other than what you currently know, than what you think you know, you can't develop your soul. You can't develop the organs of your soul. See, the organs of your soul is not like the physical aspect of your body. It's not like the organs within your body. The organs of your body, they are on automatic pilot. They're doing whatever it needs to do without any assistance from you. You don't have to think about breathing. You don't have to do any of that, any of it. Now, you can stop breathing, but that is only with their conscious control. You're using your will and your consciousness to stop breathing. Otherwise, when you don't think about it, your body is automatically doing what it needs to do. Without any interference, your body will function just fine without you having to do anything other than eating and sleeping, like I mentioned before. Eating, sleeping, and drinking water. That's all you need to do. But that's your responsibility to your body. So your body, God has created a body it's automatic. It doesn't need any assistance from you other than the basics. So our job is really basic. We're not here to really develop the body. We can. Oh yeah, we can do things to develop the body. So you can lift weights and do all these other things, and that is taking care of your body, absolutely. But it has nothing to do with the development of the soul, unless it's coming from a place of love. So, because some people can do it because they're insecure, but it's not because they want to take care of themselves. It's because of how other people are going to think about them. Make sense? Hope so. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so all the organs of the soul is expressed through the spirit body, and the spirit body is, and the spirit body expresses itself through the physical body. Sorry, I was looking at the car behind me who I didn't want to hit me. So the soul's mind, because it's all the same, your mind that you think you have here in a physical body, and the spirit body mind, the soul, the mind of the soul, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's just being expressed through different means. So the soul is just expressing itself through the spirit body and the physical body, but it's all the same mind. So the soul's mind is unable to really accept anything that the soul lacks humility about. All right, and let me move on to my post-it number 2. So I gave some examples of what lacking humility is, or what it looks like. So if you believe to know the truth, but you have not yet discovered the truth, that is a lack of humility. So people who say, I already know that, I already know that, I already know that, and they don't want to hear anything else, then that means they lack humility. And so they're not open to hearing anything else. And so they close themselves off from learning anything more than what they know. This happens a lot. And mainly it's because of pressure. It's because of pressure of not wanting to feel like they don't know anything. So it's really based on what other people think about them. So if someone is really concerned about how others perceive them, they won't open themselves more because they're afraid of being wrong. But the thing about that is you never know if you're not open to other things, if you're not open to other ideas or other aspects. You can never put the pieces together. It's just something you won't be able to do. I don't know what's going on with you here, lights back there. Yeah. So people who say, I already know it, I know it already, I know it already, I know it already. There's more to be experienced. There's more to learn. There's more to know. Some people believe that certain aspects of certain subjects aren't important, and so they close themselves off to it. There are individuals who believe that things don't exist, and they close themselves off to it. So they're not able to learn any more than that. So humility controls the thought process, always. So your thoughts, how you perceive things, your ideas about things, that is all governed by humility. All of it. So those who say, I don't believe in God, or I don't believe in Jesus, or I don't believe in this, or I don't believe in that, then you shut yourself off from, or aliens, or extraterrestrials, or spirits, or demons, or any of these things. You shut yourself off from learning the truth about those subjects. Not saying that the first thing you hear is going to be the truth. That's not what I'm saying. But what you do shut yourself off from is ever learning and knowing about the truth. And you'll never be able to put the pieces together because you shut yourself off on that subject altogether, other than what you think you already know about it. So, you people zigging and zagging. So yeah. So basically how it works is you're saying, I will not accept a thought that my lack of humility determines I should not accept. Does that make sense? I'll say it again. I will not accept a thought that my lack of humility determines I should not accept. That is basically what's happening. So you can't accept anything that your organ of humility will not accept. So if you do not let that in, you can't get it intellectually. You close your mind off to it. And this is why you keep saying, nope, nope, that's not real, that's not true, that's not real, that's not true. Which is why I am open to so much, because I know what I know, but I don't believe that everything that I know there is more information. So I only have bits and pieces of it. But I'm not saying that everything that I hold within me is just 100%, that's it. And there's nothing else to be had. That is not a belief of mine. But that's what people believe when they learn something. Until someone proves them wrong. And sometimes they're still resistant at that. Like I can prove a whole bunch of different things to people using their own lives, and they will still discount it if they're not open to it. So yesterday I was having a conversation with one of the new therapists at a different location, and we were talking, and she's like a health nut, and she found out that I'm like, I guess she saw me as a health nut. I don't really think I'm a health nut, but I guess the things that I know, they consider me to be a health nut. I don't know. So it's different when you know things and when you put things into practice. That's something completely different. So yes, do I know a lot of things about health? Absolutely. Do I know a lot of things about the body? Absolutely. Do I put all of them in practice? Nope. I sure don't. And I'll talk a little bit about why that is. Because we all do it. And it has something to do with what I'm talking about. Anyway, we were having a conversation, and she had a bottle of water on her desk, and it was the kind of water that I drink. And it was in a weird bottle. I've never seen the bottle like that before. It was in a small glass bottle. I go, oh, where'd you get that? She goes, oh, I got it at this health food store. And I go, oh, that's the kind of water I drink. She goes, I can't find it other than that one place. And I go, well, you have to order it online. She goes, that's what my friend said, blah, 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 blah. And I told her where to go, how to get it, and they deliver it and all that stuff. And then we got to, somehow we got to talking about, her dad? Yeah, I think her dad has Alzheimer's. And she had asked me, what's good for that, and, because someone had told her about chaga tea. And I was drinking it one day, and she said, what is that? I go, chaga. She goes, someone told me about that chaga tea. She didn't call it that, but I'm just going to leave that alone. She said, someone told me about that. And I said, yeah, it's really good. And so I printed out this information for her, gave her the website where she could get it, blah, blah, blah. And so what chaga is good for is inflammation. And so she was saying, well, yeah, it's inflammation of the brain, da-da-da-da-da. So she was like, why does that happen? What causes that? And so, of course, I go straight to the source. I go straight to the root. I go to the spiritual meaning of why someone would develop Alzheimer's. And she was like, oh, well, I think it's because he was working around I guess he was working in cars. And so he was like, she said, I think it's because he was working around a lot of, fumes and chemicals and things like that. And I was like, okay. So it's like she couldn't meet me there. She just could not do it. Because when you start talking about the soul, this is an aspect of the person, of ourselves, that people are clueless about. And the only way they can make any connection to the soul in terms of intellectual understanding is through religion. So basically you have a soul, you do good, and the soul goes to God, right? That is their belief, and that's just what the belief is. And so that's the extent of what they know about the soul. So when I started talking about the soul and disease and manifestation, and that's where it starts, she could not go there. So every time she would talk about something, I would mention the soul, because that is the root. That is the start of all of it. But she couldn't go there. She was stuck on health. And this is what a lot of people do, is they are all about eating this and eating that and eating this and eating that. But what they're messing with is the effect. They're trying to reverse the effect, but they're not touching the cause at all. And just to even say that would just, they just can't compute. It just doesn't register. And so I was like, okay, I need to get off this subject with that. So I didn't go any further. I think I mentioned it twice. And when she kept going back to holistic and health foods and things like that, and the reasons why she thought these things had happened, I just I just didn't say anything else. And then somehow she got on. She went on to something about, because I mentioned, the reason why this would even happen is because when I said on the soul level, I go, but what you're not understanding is, depending on what our soul condition is, will determine the interactions that we have with the physical that help assist the manifestation of these diseases. Does that make sense? So if someone is experiencing Alzheimer's or any disease, they're going to gravitate towards something that would help facilitate that disease or illness or whatnot. So because we attract based on what is within our soul. So she just couldn't go there. And so she goes, well, I believe, that, like the clients, like I work in mental health, so the clients have a lot of issues. And she said, a lot of it comes from childhood. And I was like, exactly. But that stuff is in your soul from childhood. Like all that stuff, all the stuff that they've experienced, I didn't even go to conception and your mom and dad's problems being transferred to your soul. I didn't even go there. So I just kept it simple. I was like, okay, but that's what I'm saying. Anytime you have unloving experiences is locked in your soul if you're not able to process it. And so she was like, well, I do believe that. But she couldn't go to the soul part. She can only go as far as these experiences that have happened that are affecting their lives today. Like that was the extent of it. Even though I was saying the same thing, but she couldn't go any further. So she lacked humility in that respect. So she couldn't say to herself, oh, that's interesting. That's, I can see the connection. She was just like, no, I can see my point of view in what you're saying, but I cannot see your point of view with what you're saying. So automatically she already closed herself off from understanding what she already knew. So she already had a basic understanding as to what was happening, but she couldn't allow herself to go to a different part of the same subject. So it was the same. We were talking about the same thing. I was just going more into depth. And so she just couldn't go there. And that's what the lack of humility does, is it prevents you from learning anything more. And this is on all subjects. So if you lack humility on all subjects, then you will never know anything about those subjects. If you have humility about certain subjects, then you're open to learning more. So I have a friend who is a teacher, and she's also a mathematician, but she's also an atheist. And so with math, she has humility. So being a mathematician, you are open to mathematics. That's what you're open to. And though she may know what she knows about math, there's always more to be learned. So there's always more in terms of mathematics that is out there that she doesn't know. Now, when someone presented her with something saying this is how to work this problem, and it's something that she doesn't already knowledge that she doesn't already possess, she'll be open to it. She'll be absolutely open to it because she has humility, meaning she understands that she does not know all there is to know about mathematics. There are certain aspects of mathematics that she doesn't know. And so that she's willing to learn more and absorb more than what she currently knows right now. But being that she's an atheist, she lacks humility about the Creator, about certain things about the spirit world. And there's certain things that she can accept if she has humility on that small aspect of it. So if someone has passed away and you believe that that person is still around and still is out there and looking after you, then there's a certain aspect of the spirit world that you're open to. Meaning you have a small bit of humility on the subject, but only for that one thing. And it's only because it's to your benefit. There is a certain comfort into the idea of understanding or knowing that a loved one is still present and looking down upon you and protecting you as a guide or whatever you want to call it. guardian or whatever. So, but then there's a certain aspect of that person will not accept. And really, it all depends on your humility on that topic, on that subject. So, we have humility on certain things, but lack it in others. And so, anytime we say, no, it doesn't exist, you've already shut yourself off from learning about it. For whatever reason. I mean, it's your life. So you would want to be open to as much as you possibly can. Not saying you have to move forward with it. Not saying, like, there's a lot of things. So, okay, I'll use myself as an example. So, no, I won't. I was going to mention, but you'll know who, some people will know who it is, so I won't use that as an example. Sorry. I'll have to think of another one. But there's not much that I don't lack humility about. Or I'm sorry, there's not much that I lack humility about. I'm open to everything. I know that I don't know everything. I know what I know because I know I don't know everything. Yet I understand what I know. Like, when the lady said, how did you become so smart? I didn't see that as an absolute. At all. Not like, oh, I'm smart and I can't absorb anything else. No. See, that was her perception. From her perspective, that what she said was from where she stands now. Meaning, there are certain things that I present that other people aren't aware of, or they're aware of but they don't know it, and so when they see it they're like, yes, I know that is correct. So, but it's not something that they hold within their consciousness every day. And so these things that I talk about, I hold it within myself. It is part of my soul. It is part of my soul's understanding, but the only reason why it's part of my soul's understanding is because I'm open to it. I am not arrogant in the things that I understand. Now, some people may see it that way. Oh, trust me, there was a lot of people who kept calling me a know-it-all, and I was arrogant because I knew what I knew, and I was confident in what I knew. And that didn't start going away until I attempted to start fitting it like I thought. From a very young age, I knew a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about now. But I lost it. It went away. So I came in with it, don't know where it came from. Because as a child, you don't know where it comes from. You just know that you have it. Not everyone has it, but I had it. And when people would say things like, oh, you're a know-it-all, or a smarty pants, or you're arrogant, they would say it in a way that was condemning. And so I would feel self-conscious about it, so I would stop. So I wouldn't speak anymore. And then I started to believe or doubt myself, and then believe that I really didn't know what I was talking about. And so this is what happens when you start interacting with people who are not sure of themselves. They start projecting because it makes them uncomfortable that someone else knows. Because when someone is putting someone else down like that, they are... I don't want to use the word jealous, because there is a jealousy, because it's something that they wish that they had that they don't have. And they know. Sorry about that. So, it cut off. But I was saying, people who put down others wish that they had the knowledge and the understanding that you have. This is why they're doing it. Because in order for someone to do that, that means that they don't have to acknowledge that they don't know what they don't know. And so by discounting what you know and what they know to be accurate and true, that way they're able to just keep going without ever thinking about or having any kind of openness to what's really going on around the world, in their lives, everything in their lives. It doesn't matter what it is. That's why people put others down. So, just understand that's what it is. Be mindful of this stuff. Be mindful. Be open to everything. It doesn't mean that what you're getting is right or wrong. That's irrelevant. As you open yourself up, you automatically know what's right and what's wrong. It's not something you have to think about. It's not something that someone has to tell you. You just know. You just know. Just by opening yourself up to humility. So allow that organ to be exercised. Exercise that organ as much as you possibly can. And the result of that is your knowledge will increase. Your intellect will increase. And it's not, you don't have to open a book for it. You don't have to open up a book for it. It just flows. It comes in. It just comes in. It'll come in all kinds of ways. It'll come in through people. You'll be presented with things. Just the information will come to you. And life will start making sense. Your life will start making sense. The life of others will start making sense. You'll understand yourself more. It's really amazing. It is really amazing when you open yourself up to humility. When you exercise that organ, it's amazing. The soul soars. It soars when you open yourself up to this. Oh my gosh, I cannot express to you how much it opens up. And, you know, I'll touch on the love part. Love is also, comes from the organ of the organ of the soul, which is the heart. And if that is something that's closed off, then you can't understand love. And this is what I mean. Like, the mind is subordinate to other organs, and humility is one of them. The organ of the heart is another. So it's like, the thing is, like with love, it's not something that you can really describe with words. You can't intellectually describe what it is. Sometimes there aren't any words to describe it, because it's not something that is understood by the mind. It's something that's understood by the organ of the heart. And what happens is, when we have an experience that is experienced by, when we experience love, the mind of the soul recognizes the connection. And it's like, whoa, that felt great. Oh, I like that. So now you have an intellectual understanding, but it's basically a reference. The mind cannot feel anything, but it can reference and pull memory. So its logic is, okay, this is what love is. It feels so good. But the mind is not experiencing love. The heart is experiencing love. So those who have not experienced love can't understand love. They just can't. Now, we can, what the mind can do is understand actions that are considered loving, that society considers loving, but that's not understanding love. And so I was talking about my friend the other day in her relationship with her daughter and her mother. That couldn't even, like, she doesn't understand it. She understands loving things, but when I say, love yourself, she doesn't know what that is. She does not know what that is. And for some people, they're like, yeah, I love myself. I buy myself stuff all the time. I bought myself, I go get my hair and my nails done. Women do this a lot. And they think that that's loving themselves. And yes, that is the upkeep. Some of that is upkeep of the body. And some of it is just ego. That's all it is. So if you have clothes, then you're fine. I mean, do you need $1,000 dress? Do you really need to go and do all this stuff? Do you have to buy clothes every day? Do you have to buy yourself something every weekend? It's not about clothes anymore. It's about doing things so that other people perceive you in a certain way. That's not loving yourself. But that's what they believe to be loving themselves. But that's all intellectual. So understand that there are organs within the soul, but we experience those through feelings. We feel when that organ is being exercised. Does that make sense? Like, even though, like, we don't have an organ in our body, in our physical body, that is humility. We don't have that organ. But yet we feel when that organ is being exercised from the soul or by the soul. So it's still you, it's still an aspect of you, but there's no physical organ within your body. Does that make sense? It's a feeling that you can feel all over the place. You can feel joy and happiness, and it's being experienced by the soul, but yet it's expressed through tears of joy. Sometimes people can feel so loved where they get chills. So all of these, or we can feel the butterflies in our stomach, the excitement. So all of these things that the soul has in terms of organs, we don't have physical organs to match that, but we feel when the organs of the soul is exercised. This is why it's so important to know how you function, how you operate on a soul level, so that you can get the best out of your experience while you're here. We're not here for a long time. And look, I don't like to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. But all I have to say is we're not here for that long. That's all I'll say about that. You believe what you want to believe about reincarnation. Yes, does it happen? Does it happen? Yes, it does happen. But it doesn't happen like it's said that it's happened. And then that gets into all other kinds of things, and I'm not going there. So you'll be able to put the pieces together. It's not for me to tell you everything. It's just, I'm presenting what's going on with you, like what's happening on a soul level, what's happening on a you level. So the thing is, like, when we live life, just an average human being, we get up, we go to work, we do this, and we do the same thing over and over and over and over again every single day. And whenever we have time, we may be able to get something in that we enjoy. But most of the time, we're doing things that we feel we have to do. And most of the time, we're doing things for other people. We're not doing it for ourselves. So when we go to work every day, we are dedicating at least 8 hours for some, if you're full-time, 8 hours to even longer than that. Because when you get up to get ready, see, I get up at 4 o'clock. I have to be at work at 7. So getting up at 4 is already dedicating my time to someone else other than myself. Unless I do something for myself in between the time that, I'm driving to work and getting up. So if I'm doing things between that time for myself, then I'm doing it. But for the most part, everything that we're doing when we get up is for someone else. We're getting up to get ready for someone else. We're sitting at a desk for someone else. And so we have to, it's very important to understand what we're really doing and why most people are not happy. Like, most people aren't doing what they would love to do with their lives. They're just not doing it. But they don't feel that they can do it. They don't feel that they can do whatever it is that they truly desire doing. And some people have no clue what that is, because they're so conditioned to do things for other people. Whether it's working for other people, whether it's dedicating their time off of work to other people. It's just, we don't work, we don't do anything for ourselves. But once you start understanding yourself more, you start putting other things on the back burner that don't have anything to do with you. And sometimes you take it off the burner altogether. So you're like, nope. And that doesn't, I don't mean to not do anything ever for anyone else. No, because you get great joy, and there is growth for the soul when you do things for other people, when you do interact with other people. Your soul is not growing if you're staying home all the time. It's not growing. You can't learn anything. How can you learn anything? We've come here to interact with people, but yet we want to stay in the house all the time. Now, I stay in the house a lot, but I have no problem going out and interacting with people. I do go out and have dinner with friends here and there, but I don't make that my life. There has to be a balance. So yes, it's nice to go out and have a good time and socialize with other people, but it's also good to stay home and be one with your thoughts. You know, understand yourself more, improve yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. Do the things that you enjoy. Some people enjoy gardening, so they stay home and they garden. But it doesn't mean that they shut themselves off from the world. And this goes back to the whole humility thing. Like, there are some individuals who say, I don't need anybody in my life. That's what they say. I don't need anybody in my life. So they're not open. They're saying that I don't need anybody to be happy. But that's not what it's about. Being in a relationship, that's not what it's about. The question is, do you love yourself enough to experience the joy and the happiness of a relationship? You see, they don't see it like that. But see, the thing is, the other way, when you view it the other way, it's more of a defense. There's a wall that's put up. And that wall prevents them from having love. So they lack humility. Like, they cannot be open to the fact that, you know, being in a relationship can yield joy and happiness and good times and great memories. So they close themselves off from that. But the only reason why they close themselves off from that is because they're afraid of being hurt because of their past experiences. That's it. They have been hurt and they don't want to be hurt anymore. So they take that experience and they cut themselves off from ever really experiencing that type of love. And so they're denying it. And the excuse that they use is, I don't need that. I can love myself. But what is really loving yourself? Well, loving yourself is allowing yourself to love in all aspects. It doesn't matter what it is. So you don't shut yourself off from that. But you can use discernment. The thing is, if you're afraid of being in a relationship, I know I'm kind of going off track, but if you're afraid of being in a relationship and because you don't want to experience pain and hurt, then what that's saying is, I can't be happy. I just can't be happy. Period. That's what you're saying. I'm not going to get in a relationship because it's going to be nothing but pain and suffering. But that's not true. When you meet someone and there is pain and suffering, then that is giving you the opportunity to look at yourself and saying, dang, what is dwelling within me that is causing me to attract these people who are making relationships for me miserable? That's what you have to ask. So you'll never be able to really ask yourself that question if you don't go out and get into relationships. Like, I've gone on dates, and in the beginning of the dates, I already know. But it's not like I already know there's something wrong with you. It's like, I already know there's something that dwells within me that I need to work out. That's the first thing I say. And so I don't move forward with the relationship because I already know what's going to transpire. But it's never blame, it's never condemning the other person for being who they are. It's basically, I look at them and I'm like, dang, there's still some stuff that I need to work on, because if I can see things in a date, right? If I can see things in the beginning of a date, then that means that whatever that dwells within me is present and it's there. And so as soon as I judge or I have view of what it is, I start thinking about it and where it's linked to, and then I work it out. The dates aren't as bad anymore, but there's some things that I'm like, that's not what I want. And then I look harder and I'm like, that's what I am. And I have to work on that. I really have to work on it. Anyway, so have a great Tuesday, and I will talk about some more things tomorrow about the soul, understanding your soul. All right, remember, you're loved now. Bye.